Hello everyone, Sheek here with another Transformers review, and today I will be reviewing the third-party Unicron that has been called Zeta Core Star, and I think it's called now 01 Core. I'm not exactly sure what his name is officially supposed to be, but we all know who this is. This is the Planet Eater himself, Destroyer of Worlds, and Lord of Chaos, Unicron. And as you can see, this is him in his planet mode with his glowy mouth. And he does come with some accessories, one of which you can see he's on is his stand, which is just another mouthpiece with his glowy light extension. And to make him look like he's eating things rather than revealing his head, we can go ahead and place this over his maw, like so. And it pegs into place, doesn't peg in as well as I would like, but it sits there like that. And he looks like he can eat stuff now. Now, granted, since it is an extension that goes on the front, from the front it looks pretty good, but from the side or any other angle it just looks kind of weird because it is sticking out further than it would normally. And of course you could go ahead and stick this on here too to make it look like the cone of light that pulls things in, or whatever, something like that. Well, this is about it for his planet mode. I'll go ahead and let you take a look at some of the spikes around him. He has, of course, 4 spikes along his ring on both sides. He has a couple spines right here. Spines everywhere, essentially. You can see kind of, if you've looked at this guy in his robot mode before, seen pictures of him, you might be able to guess kind of where some of his robot's bits are hidden, especially considering that I don't have the panels swapped out for his planet mode to make him look better in planet mode. But where this guy really shines, though, is his robot mode, so I'm not going to swap something out that's going to make him look worse in his robot mode, because his planet mode is really good. It is good, but I don't think it's going to be as good as the HasLab Unicron, which I will be getting when it comes out in March. Granted, I don't know when I'll be able to review it because I'm going to be gone from home for who knows how long, but I am planning on having him in robot mode, and Unicron, Hasbro's Unicron in planet mode, him in robot mode. And I think they would actually go very well together like that. Anyway, as far as transformation is concerned, I might not show all of it on camera because he is a beast to transform without him being on camera. So I don't know how it'll work on camera. I'll do my best, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so let's go ahead and now I have the light on. I can go ahead and turn off his eating mouth or speaking mouth light, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so the first thing you really want to do with transforming him is to remove his ring, or at least disconnect it from his planet mode, which, as you might imagine, is somewhat difficult, even with some of the modifications I've had to make to him to make this work, because I actually ended up breaking him a couple times. Because not because I was being impatient necessarily, just more of a design flaw in my opinion. Great, very great figure. Just, they could have done a little things better. And as you might notice, see if I can zoom in up here. But on the ring, you'll notice that there is one little tab. There used to be 2. There used to be one further up, but that made it impossible to clip the ring together properly up here. And when I did that, instead of trying to clip it, maybe seeing what I could do to make it work a little better, I just, against my better judgment, decided to continue, or force it, and then popped these off, popped these little things off. So I'd managed to get them back on, kind of fixed them. They're probably a little weaker than they were before, but then again, you don't need as much force to get them together now that I made that alteration. Of course, you're going to want to flip all his spines up so that they're out of the way, And for some of these, like to get when you go to put them back in plant mode, you'll need a screwdriver to get some of these back out, just because they kind of hide in there a little bit. These spines on his arms, the ones in the middle, they like to pop off. I guess they weren't fitting on quite as right, but you just, like I said, flip all these in, and if, like, see, yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but it started to come off, so I have to kind of push it back on there. And there we go. Got the spines all in, and then there's these things. I could go ahead and unclip them now, but I might just go ahead and wait until I get the ring detached. I think I'll hold off on that for now. Okay, so go ahead and get the ring the rest of the way off. Gonna take him off of his stand, move the stand off to the side, and I have figured out how to transform him without removing any of his spines or the ring, but I might decide to remove the ring just for the transformation for YouTube, just to make things a little bit easier on myself. But yeah, so kind of got the ring done. Then you want to just kind of close it up like that. That is if you kind of want to leave it on. I'll see what I can do. I'll see how far I get with the ring still on. But at this point, you should kind of have it looking like this, with the ring in two segments kind of around here. And I'll pause here and resume in a little bit. Alright, so the first panels you want to move around would be his panels right here. Come on. To disconnect them, you might want to actually use a handy dandy little flathead screwdriver. You would just pop it out like this, flip up, fold in, flip up, and then you'll do that 3 more times. Alright, now that we got those 4 done, I'm going to go ahead and lift this up, rotate around, and clip into place. Flip this down, rotate it around, clip into place, and then the next big thing you want to do is to unclip these, flip down. Ooh, the problem is slick surface, so I want to be careful that you got, make sure you got a good hold. And these snaps are really tight clips, so I might want to file this down actually. There we are. And there we are. Let's see. So next thing you want to work on would be the arms, which are obviously kind of right here. And what you want to do is just kind of undo the panel right here. And you want to kind of pull up. You still want to be kind of careful because how everything's connected, but you kind of carefully work down his shoulder, which, as you can see, disconnects up here. You just work it down like that. Then you can go ahead and flip this up, slide it back on its double hinge so that you can flip it up all the way. Flip in, then you pull this up. Now this is where the ring can get in the way, and you just rotate around, tab this right into here, like so. Flip this down, push it forward on its double hinge, tab into place, then his arm, I'm going to go ahead and rotate here. Make sure it's kind of still kind of pulled out a little bit so that this can tab into that hole right there. I'm going to flip out his hand, flip this up right here, then you want to close back down, flip this around, and then you clip into place like that. Come on, there we are, like that. And then second verse is just like the first. Alright, so now we got both of his arms essentially transformed. Now one thing I forgot to mention is you want to get this kind of pressed down here into place right there. Now you can still leave the rings like this, because you don't want to have them get in the way too much. Let's see. Oh, and I suppose you can also go ahead and get his thumb out and extend his hands, but you don't really want to do that necessarily right now because, as you can see, he's kind of resting on his hands. The next big thing you really want to do for the legs is to untab right here, and it can be sometimes be kind of tight, and that's a good idea. Sometimes you use this flat head. I don't know how it will be on yours if you decide to get this figure, but I guess it can be kind of tight. One thing that I would say, if you're not comfortable at all with doing any sort of modification to your figure, I would not recommend getting him, because there are some, unless you're planning on just keeping him in his robot mode and nothing else, because there are modifications you have to do if you want him to transform properly into planet mode. Like for example right here, this would not tab into place without me filing it down. Right now the way it is, I should be able to get it untapped like that. And there's 4 of these, one for each side of the knee. These go on the sides of his knees. Then there's 2 more on the back. So, and like so, and we're about ready to actually start on the legs. You also want to take these panels down off to the side too. There's chest and back panels, and we're about ready to start on the legs. Alright, so to do the legs, the first thing you want to do is to kind of get this up here disconnected or detached, which can be somewhat tricky. And then once you get that kind of detached, you'll want to then pull down, although it's hard to see the internals as these parts get in the way, but there is 2 clips in here, which also is another thing you'd want to file down a bit, because they are super strong. Normally I'd say that stiff joints and connections are really good, but in some cases there is such a thing as being too strong. But once you get that up, I recommend using this, because it is kind of difficult to get up. Pull that back just to get this free, and then you also want to disconnect his side pieces from the leg, because they peg in to help hold it into place. What I recommend doing is pulling down at an angle, something like this, and maybe using your fingers for leverage, like this. There, and then you should unclip, and then you can slide to the side a little bit just to get this slid off, rather than just pulling on it to disconnect it. And then what you do is kind of also have this up like this a little bit, flip this around, and then tab that into place. Don't want to clip it into place quite yet, because that will help keep the leg extended once we get that out. You want to be somewhat careful, because you don't want to damage anything, of course, but kind of just work it out. Slide these back in so that the sides of the knees can get out like that, and then you can now close this panel up like that to help secure the leg place, although the knee got in the way for a little bit. There we are. That out and clipped into place like so. And then for the ankle, or not ankle, heel, or heel spur, whatever you want to call it, you untab these, rotate around like so, and then you want to get this tab into this slot on both sides. It's easier to get it into the side that this piece is actually connected to first, and then clip in place like that, and then you have his completed heel. And you want to get this orientated like so, and then you can go ahead, if you want to, and flip out his feet and toes, or whatever you want to call them, because they are kind of spiny. And the next thing you want to do is his knees, which also helps lock this into place. If you can see that, they tab into there. I'll just rotate around, press together, and get to collapse down like that. And there you have a completed knee. And now to do the side of the knee, you just want to rotate this up like so, flip around, and the ball joint on mine's a little loose, but then you clip into the side of his knee. Do the same on the other side, flip up and tab into place, and there we have a leg complete. Now to get in proper position, rotate at the hip, take it down. Oh, and you also want to flip this tab up so it doesn't get in the way. And then you get this down, and then you rotate at the thigh until these lines are lined up, and then you want to completely rotate his leg at the knee. And there we have one leg complete. And there we have his legs complete. Next thing that we want to do is to kind of get all of it. Let me raise the camera. Get a better angle. Next thing you want to do is just close up his side like so. Same on the other side. Close it all up. There we are. Got that closed up. Next thing we want to do is to raise his side flaps. Raise his side flaps. And then you'll want to then rotate it around like this. And then, it's kind of hard to see with the angle, flip his side panels like that, and then you want to clip his, or tab his waist or crotch and butt plates into place like so. And then you'll want to, let me pause for a moment and get the camera a bit higher. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is to get his stomach, abs, whatever you want to call them, lined up with his lower body and his upper body. Okay, we're getting close to the home stretch. What next thing you want to do is to collapse down his torso, get all lined up. You want to be, you can use his shoulders as a point of leverage if you want. Just pull down until it's completely flush. Although that can't, there we are, because it is a stiff ratchet. Okay, come on, operate. There we go. Stand. Don't want you falling over on camera. Okay, and then you don't want to close up his chest yet because you still got to get his horns and all that stowed in here. But before we go ahead and do that, just wanted to show off the detail in his chest, which will be covered up when this goes in. You can see his brain, or at least the command center, whatever it was in the movie. I'm not sure, that's probably just the base of where everything connects. And it's just some detail that they didn't even have to include. I mean, I just think that's amazing that they went ahead and did that. Alright, let me readjust him and then we'll continue. Alright, so you want to untab these from like here and here there's 4 points. Let me see if I can just go ahead and show you. But let's take the camera down a little bit. Is that you want to untab here and here, here and here, and then pull them up and around and kind of rotate them. And then they're going to go down in here. And you want to be very careful with his pincers because they will get bent. This one is still somewhat bent from when they sent it to me. It was like bent really bad, but I managed to straighten it with the hot water trick, but it still is a little bit warped. But you want to rotate them kind of in the side, and you want to feed his horn or mouth pincer through there, and you want to just push it all the way in like that. And the same side, the opposite side is same thing. And as you can see this poking through, and you just kind of want to gently press it up against there. And since I'm going to be putting them in storage for a while, definitely do not want these bent long term. And then rotate like this, feed it through, and then what you can kind of do is just check a little bit on both sides to make sure that they're not pressing up on each other. Just make sure that, hey, it did get through. Just kind of press it down, then double check the other side. Now you move this side around, and they both look to be in good position. So now I feel comfortable going ahead and closing up his chest and back. So all you do is just bring these panels in, tab them into place, like so, tab them into place, like so, and then back is the same as the front. And as you can see, he didn't point it out on the front, but he does. It's right here. These holes, these tabs right here, plug into those holes. You just line it up, tab it in, line it up, and tab it in. And like I said, on the home stretch, like there's just a little bit left to do, and then he will have him in his robot mode. And the final big thing is his head reveal. You untab here. You don't want to pull on it. I'd say lift up slightly like that to get him out. Then you pull it out, open up like this. You might want to lower his shoulders a little bit so they're not as in the way. And then you pull out like this so that you can flip it down. Then like this, flip down, flip this up so you can flip down the mouth, flip back down, and then you just fold around the back like so, forming his impressive collar. And you want to lift up, careful, make sure that you don't rub his chin against there. Rotate up his horns, straighten them out, and the last thing to do, really, other than some minor adjustments for robot mode, is you just want to get his shoulders into place. You don't want him to have dislocated shoulders, of course. And then rotate at the bicep, bicep. Rotate his hands, get him in alignment. Rotate his hands, get him in alignment. Okay, well, you didn't see me rotate his hands, but you rotate his hands, pretty straightforward. Get his thumb out, fingers out, however you like them to be posed. Thumb out, fingers out, send them whatever. And then I'm going to go ahead and adjust his legs so that he can actually stand properly. This is definitely a figure you do not want falling. Definitely not. Lots of pointy things that could break. Okay. Let me see about it. Okay, there we are. Confident he's not going to fall over now on me. Okay, now things might shift while you're transforming, like these get lined up angle them out, down, however you want to angle them. Then of course you want to splay out the ring. Get this lined up. Splay out the ring. And we have him, the Chaos Bringer, the Destroyer of Worlds, in his robot mode. And he is very impressive. So impressive that I cannot fit him all in the frame of my camera of where it stands on its stand. But you can see he is one impressive figure, standing very tall. Which makes me wonder, was it a sound idea to get both him and HasLab Unicron, who hasn't even arrived yet, who stands even taller than him? So, I don't know, I'll find that out. Also, one thing you can do, it's totally optional, is you can have these. That's why it's kind of optional, because the more you wiggle those all around, the more likely they are to pop off. But it's personal preference. You can have all 6 of these spines flipped out, but personally, for me, because they do get in the way of, like, if you have his arm down, they will touch here. So what I would do personally for myself is just have the ones on the inside flipped down and have the ones on the outside flipped out. So he still has those spines, but the ones on the inside aren't as likely to get knocked off or broken. And that's pretty much it for getting him into his robot mode. And of course, there's a light up gimmick in his robot mode. Light up bright green eyes. Very impressive and intimidating if you are, well, a Transformer, because he is the ultimate evil. And I guess I'll go ahead and show off his articulation. Alright, so his articulation, oh boy, he has a lot of it. The head, of course, is not exactly on a ball joint, but it is this peg that allows it to swivel, go up and down. He doesn't really have much wiggle waggle. His horns, of course, are articulated, but that's more for transformation. His mouth does open and close. And, of course, you can't remove his head like that. I guess if you want to have it simulate, after he blows up and all that. Of course, they were also packaged separately. But you can go ahead and turn off the head, or lights in his head, and put that back on. He could do a full 360 on this, but I think his collar would inhibit that. His shoulders, they can go up about that far before they start getting impeded by the collar. Of course, you can utilize this hinge if you need to, because for transformations that could allow it to go out a little bit, so you can get a little bit higher. But I'm personally probably not going to mess with that too much. And then another thing you can do, or another point of articulation, is the shoulder itself. It can do a full 360, although I'm not sure, but it's extremely stiff ratchet on mine, so I'm not going to show the whole 360, but just to give you an idea of how stiff this thing is. Of course, the ring itself is on a ratchet and a friction swivel as well if you need to rotate that. The horn things or spires on here are on hinges, so they can, or clip hinges, friction, so that they can also move, although this one is getting kind of loose. You have bicep swivel, you have double articulation at the bicep for an elbow bend, can bend up that far, doesn't go backwards. Of course, you have wrist swivel, thumb articulation. Let's see if I can go ahead and zoom in on his hand. But his hands are very impressive. They are, every single joint is articulated. It's like kind of like a regular hand. Very stiff friction joints. can have him do almost anything. And of course, one of my friends, the first thing he asked me is, can he flip the bird? Of course he can flip the bird, but I'm not going to have him do that on YouTube. But yep, every single joint is articulated. Let's see, go ahead and show you that you can also splay his fingers, not by a whole lot, but I mean that's still really impressive considering that most Transformers don't even have articulated hands to begin with. And on him, since he's such a large figure, I feel that works really well because they can actually make strong hand and finger joints, whereas on smaller figures, like maybe Masterpiece scale size, I'm just terrified that they're going to break because they are so small. And then of course, we have hip rotation. We have an ab crunch, which is really impressive, except it looks really goofy from the back, but that is something that you can do. Another thing, this isn't necessarily for articulation exactly, but this might be like if you want to put an LED in here for his abs, but you can flip that ab panel up. These, of course, can flip up, move up, just to accommodate leg movement. Same with the sides. I'm pretty sure he's capable of doing the full splits if you need him to do that, but that would be kind of tricky because I need to get his arms completely out of the way to do that. Normally I'd be all for showing off that form of articulation, especially on an impressive figure as this, but he is very large and very hard to or difficult to manage. Of course, you have the thigh swivel. This is more for transformation, but it is a joint you can use. And then, of course, knee about 90 degrees there. Of course, knee rotation. Then he does have ankle pivot and ratchets that can be extended a bit. Not going to do that too much because I'd have to hold him up, but you get the idea. And then, of course, you can, this is more also for transformation to a point, but you can articulate his foot, his sides of his feet, and his heel spurs. That's about it for articulation. I might have missed some things. Oh, I guess if you want to count these on his rings, that's more for getting it for attaching to the planet. But I mean, that is also something that does move. There's a lot of moving parts on this guy. But that's about it for articulation. I don't know exactly how many points of articulation there is for those that are really interested in it. But let's just say there's probably at least 50. Like I said, I really don't know. But there's a lot. Definitely worth the price if you're buying it directly from China. But if you do buy it directly from China, expect to wait a long time. I wasn't sure if I was going to get this before I was going to have to go to San Diego for military stuff. So, I mean, don't know how long I would have had to wait to actually finally see him. But I'm so glad I got to. Definitely an impressive figure for my collection. Definitely looking forward to displaying him alongside HasLab's Unicron when I get the chance. But that's about it for Zeta third party Unicron. He is an awesome beast. And until next time, have a good one, everyone. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more. I will try to get some more videos uploaded in the future. I don't know how many I'll be able to do really with my being in the Navy. So it's possible videos might dry up over the next couple months. But I will make videos whenever I can. But as always, you can look back at older videos that you may have missed. And just, like I said, click that notification icon to get notifications when I finally am able to post. And thank you to my like 20-something subscribers. Thank you for your support. Okay, bye everyone. Hello everyone, Sheek here, and as you can see, this isn't exactly a review, it's kind of part of an unboxing. As you can see, this is Zeta Core Star 01, or at least it was Zeta's, I'm not exactly sure on his name, but as you can see, he is Unicron, and he is massive. I mean, I knew he was big, I didn't realize he was this big. I mean, he is heavy too, so look at that, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how many variants, it's just 2 or 3, but man, is that head big, and also awesome, and it glows, and he even has teeth and all that. It's very clean, very sharp, and I still haven't even gotten him complete out of his packaging, and after seeing his size, I'm kind of like, what am I thinking getting HasLab's Unicron as well, but oh well. I think I'll enjoy them both in their own ways, and I might actually go ahead and make a video on him if I have the time. Well, this is just a little update.